talk about the Frisco Bowl. Okay, talking about Memphis. We're talking about West Virginia here. Neil Brown gets the can. All right, and I've been high on West Virginia for the majority of this season, maybe undeservedly so. I also didn't hate the contract extension last year that you gave Neil Brown, given what he did with last year's team with the talent that he had. Now, if you do look at that schedule from last year, you may look back and be like, yeah, maybe that turned out to be more favorable schedule than we thought. And then this year, he gets the tougher, the shorter end of the butt stick, and they get absolutely screwed with their schedule, and they go 6-6, and he gets the can. Which I don't know that I necessarily agree with, and we'll talk about more with the hiring Rich Rod now back in West Virginia, which is pretty crazy. We'll talk about that, all that stuff with the coaching carousel later. But Memphis is a 4.5 point favorite, and I'm here to tell you that I like that a lot. We're going back to the Dallas area. You know, a quarterback for Memphis by the name of Seth Hennigan happens to be from Grapevine, Texas, which is pretty darn close. Basically playing in his hometown over there. It's not that far of a drive. Honestly, from Memphis, it's not that far of a travel. It is a much further travel from West Virginia. And also, too, with the head coaching change. I like Memphis a lot in this spot. Are you with me here?
I'm with you here too. Yeah, the 4.5. Yeah, it's a little bit to eat there, but I don't hate it at all. Even though sometimes you do get some rejuvenation after a tough year with a new hire. A lot to prove there for those players. Rich Rod coming in. I do like the hire. We'll get to all that stuff. I know you guys are anxious about to hear our thoughts on the coaching carousel. So much is going on right now in college ball. We're kind of just focused right now on what's going on the field and rewarding all these teams, for working so hard, making and putting themselves in a chance for a 13th game. So yeah, I like Memphis here. To me, it comes down to right stopping the run. Obviously, it's West Virginia, like Jaheim White, Cedar Donaldson, like those guys are still playing. If I'm not mistaken, right? You got a couple of wide receivers that have been hurt. They're not opting out; they've been hurt. Jaden Braid, Traylon Ray, a couple guys there that they've had to deal with as well. But especially with a guy like Josiah Trotter, who's one of the better players I think on his West Virginia defense at linebacker, if he's not going to be in there, right? Mario Anderson, a guy we've been high on for a long time since the summer, right? I took him in our fantasy draft for the American League for one of the wild card spots, for this Memphis team. I think if they can get any kind of red zone stops on defense, West Virginia is a team that struggles to get stops struggles to score in the red zone. Right, they are 12th out of 16 teams in the Big 12 in red zone scoring percentage. Right, so if you can win those small margins here, I know Memphis' defense is not world class. They're not going to be this year, right? But they've got zero major opt outs. I think they'll put up points. Feel pretty good about them at 4.5. And yeah, like you said, Seth Hennigan, kind of a homecoming game for him, big time spot. I think Memphis and this team, I think it means a lot for them this bowl game. Right? Not that doesn't mean a ton for West Virginia, but I think it's gonna. I'm not worried about laying an egg here as a favorite.
Yeah, I do look like down the stretch, like Memphis, I thought did a good job against particular teams stopping the run when they needed to, right? And that's exactly what you just talked about. That West Virginia is going to try to run the ball here. If they can't run the ball, then what are they going to do? And not that Memphis, I believe, look, not that I believe that their defense is absolutely ridiculous because it's not. It's in fact quite not good. I think West Virginia's defense is worse than Memphis's defense. And like you said, you talk about even losing players on top of that, losing your coach. Yeah, I just think it'd be really tough for West Virginia to come in here and get a win over Memphis. Now, I think West Virginia probably overall is more talented in a sense than Memphis, but I do think that this Memphis team matches up well. I think they have less opt outs. I think it's less travel. And I also think that they're playing better football right now. So, yeah, I guess that's where I'm at with this. And I feel pretty good about that too, by the way. I like Memphis in this spot right here.
It's not crazy at all, especially if you get Garrett Green having to throw the football. We talked about earlier in the season when he has to throw the ball more than 30 times a game. That is not who he is. He struggles. You're going to get turnovers. You're going to get inconsistency there, and you could see some things, kind of falling apart there for West Virginia if Memphis does jump on them. Yeah, I don't hate it at all.
Now I will say that like there are less effective quarterbacks that have actually done pretty well against Memphis's secondary, right? I mean, I'm looking at like Navy, like Navy's Blake Horvath, right, threw for 192 yards against his Memphis secondary. Uh, Chandler Morris had an absolute day against this. Owen McCown had an absolute day against this secondary, right? There is room for quarterbacks to have really good days against this Memphis secondary and pass rush. However, you have to be able to distribute the ball accurately and effectively. And I'm not sure that Garrett Green has done that quite literally all season. So, as explosive as he is, as good of an athlete as he is, as much of a leader as he is, I don't know that he's got the goods in the arm talent to take advantage of this Memphis secondary that, in my opinion, hasn't been quite up to snuff. You know,
Yeah, that's not crazy at all.
it's not too late to make a free $50. That's right. You got to do two things. One, you got to subscribe to Redshirt Sophomore podcast. That's all you got to do. Then the second step to that is you're going to go into the link in the description and join the college football bowl pool pick'em that we're putting on. Yep, that's right. Introducing the Redshirt Sophomore college football bowl pool pick'em. You're going to go in that link. You're going to find all of the bowl games, and you're going to pick those bowl games, and you're going to sign confidence points. How confident are you that that team is going to win that bowl game? And there's a lot of points to sign, and it's never too late to join. That's the thing. You would think, oh man, the first bowl game already passed, South Alabama, Western Michigan. It's not too late. Okay, you only would lose 1 point. Okay, and generally, out of the 400 some points that you can earn, uh, you're not even going to come close to making all those points. So it really, 1 point is not the biggest difference in the world. So make sure though that you are subscribed to the Redshirt Sophomore to qualify for this prize. And good luck to you all.